Helen, Helen, be my victim. That scared the living piss out of me when I was a kid. In the first Candyman movie. That first Candyman movie, I think, was legitimately the first movie that really did scare me. Like, it didn't just give me, like, nightmares or anything like that. It scared the piss out of me. Like, that film, I remember, was on my brain for days after. It just made me feel so uneasy. That movie, I'll always remember that. And I've only ever seen it a couple of times since. So I've never really been like a big Candyman fan. And I don't even think I'd seen the sequels to the original ones, to be honest with you. I don't think I have. And if I have, I've completely forgot about them. But from what I hear, they're not very good. So it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I really like the Candyman movie. The first one. But like I say, I'm not like a huge fan of the series or a huge fan of the movie. But I do like it. So going into this new one, I was kind of like, whatever. I wasn't like really excited about it, but I wasn't like, oh, why are they doing another one for? I was actually intrigued by it. So I went in to watch it, and I have to be honest with you, I quite like this new Candyman movie. I thought it was decent. I really did. I didn't love it. And there are a couple of reasons why, which I'll get into later on in the review, but I actually think the film is pretty good, and I do think it's worth your time going to see it. And I would recommend it if you're a big Candyman fan as well. I think it does the Candyman justice. And what's really surprised me the most, actually, in this new one is the fact that this is quite a heavy sequel to the first one. I thought it was just going to be like a spiritual sequel, as it said, and like a little bit of a reboot. And it is a reboot, but it does follow on a lot from the first movie, and I actually quite like that. And it made me wish that I actually watched the original one first before I went to watch this new one. So I would recommend doing that, guys, if you can. Watch the 1992 Candyman movie first before taking in this new one, because it does follow a lot of them elements on, which I kind of little bit forgot about. But I caught up to it all right, so that's fine. But anyway, let's get into the new Candyman. And I will say this, I love the way this film was shot. This film is very well directed, and it looks beautiful. And it has the same like eerie feel as what the first movie did. Not as much as the first, but this still does have like a very, it's hard to describe, like a very unsettling vibe throughout the movie, which I really liked. And I love how the film just took its time. It doesn't just throw in the Candyman straight away and let's get to the kills and all that. It's building tension, building character, and just letting it simmer and giving you little glimpses of Candyman here and there. And it had a nice pace to it until it got to the third act, but I'll get to that later. Yeah, it's extremely well directed, especially when the Candyman comes back in certain shots. And the way it was filmed and the way some of the kills were filmed, I thought was brilliant. I really dug it. And it reminded me a little bit of like a Nightmare on Elm Street, where when people are being attacked in their dreams, I mean, you can't see Freddy in the real world, you can just see them. And it's like similar with Candyman, like you can't see Candyman when these people are being attacked, but you can see him through like mirrors and stuff. It was very well done. I actually did quite like that. I liked the way it was done. It was very, very well done. And I also enjoyed they expanded on the lore of Candyman, which I actually quite liked. Like, there's different Candymen for different stories throughout the decades and stuff, which I thought was quite cool actually. It made sense. So it kind of built on the kind of like the urban legend of Candyman, the boogeyman. It built and expanded on it, which I thought was clever. I really did, and I did enjoy that. The acting was top notch. Everyone across the board brought their A game and did a great job. They really did. There is a comic relief character in this movie though. You'll either love him or hate him. I couldn't stand him, to be fair. But I think some audiences, I think some people will find him funny because he is a little bit of the light relief throughout the movie. But I don't really think you needed that. I mean, if I remember right, the first Candyman didn't really have many funny moments in it. So I don't think you really needed it in this one, but it is what it is. And I think a lot of people will probably enjoy this particular character, to be fair. He's not in it a lot, but he was in it a bit too much for me, to be fair. So, also as well, there were some generally creepy moments throughout this movie as well. I mean, the one that stood out for me the most, apart from when the Candyman pops up and just starts freaking hacking and slashing everybody, which is awesome, by the way. That's always fantastic to see. Was at the beginning when the young boy is taking his laundry into the building to do. And there's some nice lingering shots. And I was kind of on the edge of my seat at the beginning, like just with the tension it was building up. And I found it really creepy. And I like stuff like that. I like when shots just linger on something and you're like expecting something to happen. And when it doesn't happen, you're like, oh, fucking hell, it's going to happen in the next shot. It's going to happen. It just keeps you on edge, which I quite like in horror movies. So I enjoyed that part of it. I think the reason why I didn't love this movie and just liked it was because of the character of Candyman. Now, in the original Candyman, Tony Todd, who plays Candyman, did an absolute phenomenal job. That guy, like I say, scared the piss out of me when I was a kid. And I'm pretty sure millions of other kids as well. He just brought something to that role that he didn't have to do a lot, but what he did was enough. And his voice, Helen, just, even now just gives me chills just like thinking about it. And I feel that this movie lacks something like that. It feels like Candyman in this is just an object. Whereas in the original Candyman, he feels like a character. Do you get what I mean? If you watch the movie, you'll probably understand what I'm saying. But I just found the Candyman in the original just more of like a presence, even when he wasn't in any scenes. I'm probably not explaining myself that well, but if you watch the film, hopefully you'll understand what I'm trying to say. I just thought the Tony Todd in the original Candyman was absolutely amazing. And I thought the guy that played Candyman in this one did well for like what he had to do. But he didn't come anywhere near the Tony Todd Candyman for me. But there are different versions of Candyman throughout the history in this movie, so I don't want a replica of what Tony Todd did, but I think give Candyman like a bit of, not personality, but menace. Instead of just showing up and hacking and slashing people, like give him some actual like menace. You know, put it this way, I wasn't scared of the Candyman in this movie. Like, he didn't creep me out. But Tony Todd, like I said, creeped me the hell out. So, there's that. And also, like I say, a lot of the movie is nice, builds tension, it's taking its time, and then you get to the third act, and it's like it throws everything at the wall and hopes it all sticks. It throws everything at you, and a lot of it didn't need to happen, in my opinion. And I won't get into it because it will go into spoilers, guys, and I don't spoil these new movies. I like you to go and experience it for yourselves. But some of it just didn't stick to landing for me, and it kind of ruined what's been building up, what's come before. So I was a little bit like, it's starting to do like typical horror movie stuff now that it didn't need to do. But in saying that, there's also moments in the last part of this movie that's actually quite cool, that I think a lot of fans are going to love and quite like. I enjoyed it. So I think if you're massive fans of Candyman, you're going to love it. But yeah, it just starts to like pack everything in a bit too fast for you to wrap the movie up. And I kind of lost me a little bit around there. But all in all, I actually think this is a very good movie. And I would like to see more. If they're going to do more Candymans, I'd like to see this universe expanded on and see more sequels to this. So I do highly recommend it, guys, and I will give the Candyman 2021, I'll give it just below a 4 out of 5. I'll give it a 3.9 out of 5. It was very close to being a 5 out of 5 for me, but like I say, just the Candyman character himself and the last third act just knocked it a bit down for me. But overall, guys, I really did dig this movie, and I do recommend you go and watch it. So please check it out. And as always, guys, be very good to yourselves and each other. And why are there a load of bees in my front room all of a sudden?